on, we've all doubted it. I think it's okay to admit that. I mean, we've all asked ourselves the question, is this sport as good as we think it is? Will it ever reach mainstream recognition and break free of its niche perceptions? It's a question that has worried every member of the European drift community for almost 15 years. But on one humid night, in a football stadium in Poland, that question was finally answered. "20 nations bid farewell to their chosen representatives, while the finest minds in European drifting conceptualized an event fitting of their talent." There was a lot riding on this. A lot of people's dreams, aspirations, and even careers. One slip-up, one failure, one mark missed, and it could all turn to dust. 15 years of anticipation. Could anything satisfy or justify that belief? Is this sport as good as we think it is? No. On that fateful night, it was far better.
It's here, the most monumental drift event that Europe has ever seen. Drivers from all across the continent are here. I hope you guys are ready, because this is going to be a spectacular event here in Poland.
Formula Drift World Champion James Dean was the hot favourite to take the trophy, and after topping qualifying it looked like business as usual. But with Europe's best aiming for his title, he was about to have a very tough night at the office. A child behind the wheel of a 600 brake horsepower car is surely a novelty act at this level, but Conor Shanahan doesn't care about novelty or age, and after a hard-fought battle with Tor Arne Kavia, he was marching to his first European final against the man that inspired his entire career. They say, never meet your heroes, but first, there was the small business of third place. Tor Arne Kavia would prepare for a death match with Poland's own Dawid Karkoszek for the final podium position. With both drivers on equal form, this would be a battle for the ages.
Karkoszek to lead in, Tor Arne Kavia, look at Kavia!
Hop onto the wall, Kavia all over the side of Karkoszek, 10-15. Look at the aggression from Kavia. Kavia wants the win, he wants the podium.
Knocking cones, didn't even have a spoiler on the car, he's using the rear end of his car.
Look at this, Tor Arne Kavia, door to door, wheel on wheel. Wow, look at the pace of Kavia though, he finds that car to the outer zone gate.
Heads for a third step on the podium, and Karkoszek toying with those exterior walls.
As they come round the roundabout. Karkoszek's not looking too handy right now as Tor Arne Kavia look dominant.
Kavia and Karkoszek would put everything on the line for a third step on the podium. Norway had found a new star, and Kvyat's raw emotion after the announcement was reciprocated by those in attendance. 20 nations began the contest, but it would be an all-Irish final. 14-year-old Conor Shanahan had grown up idolising James Dean. Surely the moment would be too much for an unproven school kid, but sometimes this sport creates something truly magical.
Oh, wow, look at Conor Shanahan, wheel on wheel with the world champ.
Oh, what was that transition, Conor Shanahan?
Look at Shanahan, Dave, he's wheel to wheel, door of door with James Dean. Oh, look at this, Shanahan!
Shanahan gave it everything as the electricity and tension overwhelmed those in attendance. The world champion was on the ropes. The kid had him rattled, and those watching on rose from their seats and started to believe. One last run, one last moment, but whose would it be?
Dean fires in behind Shanahan, not the same proximity right now, Ian. Oh, now James Dean, he's coming for it!
James Dean backs it in on
Contact! Shanahan stays in it!
James Dean backwards entry into the braking zone. Shanahan taking the back off the car.
He's blown the back bumper off the car, the back lights off the car, and now James Dean's coming for it!
Oh wow, Shanahan is throwing it all on the wall right now.
Two Irishmen entered, but only one would emerge from the carnage.
Dean shuts it down!
Wow, the crowd are
History is the making!
Moments like this are a reward for belief, for every doubt we've ever had, for every time we've almost given up. Try telling us now that this isn't the most unique, exciting and emotional motorsport ever imagined. It's special, it's undeniable, and it's ours. 15 years ago, European drifting and Conor Shanahan were both created, but on one fateful night in Poland, both had found each other, and the future looked brighter than ever. Who will be the hero in the next Driftmasters story? Well, we're about to find out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this incredible circuit here in Hungary. It is, of course, the Trackwood circuit here in Mario Park, and it is round 2 of the Driftmasters European Championship. After an incredible opener in Poznan, Poland, we're back at it again, with 20 nations going to war for the biggest prize in European drifting. We are here with Eli Hutunji, one of the Red Bull Drift brothers, Dimitri Illick, Steve Bagsy Biagioni, and Jack. A very different track today for everybody here as opposed to the first round. How does this one fare compared to the first round?
I think this will suit a lot of the Eastern European drivers a little bit more. It's like not as tight and technical as was at round 1.
Yeah, it's definitely a totally different story than the stadium in Pots.
This championship, you know, the level of driving is just like nothing else you've ever seen anywhere in the world before, and it's insane.
For the whole family, an amazing moment in Poland with Conor taking the win, but of course it's back to business today, both back to the start line, and of course you're trying to get yourself back up that championship leaderboard again.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think I've seen enough of his name over the last 2 weeks.
You know, like Conor's an amazing driver, and we're great friends behind the scenes and next door neighbours too, so we're always having fun.
Yeah, it will be unbelievable. Look, tomorrow's not going to be easy. There's going to be some hard battles. It looks like not an easy track to battle on. You know, I think if you leave too much of a gap, you're going to get lost in the smoke, so it could be quite sketchy that way.
You know, whatever happens, happens. We're both going to be trying our best, but there's a lot of other people you can't forget about too. So I think tomorrow's competition is going to be crazy, judging from today's practice. It's going to be a challenging event, but we're looking forward to it.
A lot of people were wondering how you'd handle the pressure of winning the first round and having a target on your back, so to speak. You seem to be dealing with it quite well. Is there anything that you're doing, just try to keep a calm mind, or do you have any race rituals that you just go through, or processes that you go through in your head just to keep yourself calm?
I'm not really looking now. It's just to stay consistent and keep doing what we're doing. And qualifying second, that's kind of took off the pressure again now, because people, have looked up again and saying, okay, he's carried it on now. So hopefully we can carry it on again tomorrow, and we'll see where we are tomorrow evening.
He knows he's got to get back on the rear of that E30, and it's shallow transition from He puts on big angle. He could go in the wall here, and he does go in the wall heavy.
Banksy to lead in Dragos Hipke for a spot in top 16. Can Banksy outpace the E30 LSX of Dragos?
Look at Hipke!
Hipke on the door, pushes Banksy offline.
Incredibly, but Shannon holding back a little bit here.
Struggling for pace, but Connor Shanahan looking absolutely dialed now. Starts to rein it in, and look at this. Shanahan sticks that 180 SX to the door. Contact!
Oh! Big impact between both.
Connor, we couldn't really see what happened. Can you tell us a little bit of contact, obviously, over the line?
So I transitioned, and he went on a massive angle and slowed a lot. I wasn't expecting him. I could not avoid him. There's a lot of damage done to the car, I don't know what we're going to do now.
Current finish, Andy's had pedigree here.
And that wall run, Kavia in the zone very deep, and Pointelax goes right with him as he almost pushes.
Look at the initiative. Wow. Reihart on a big initiation. Through the gears they go up to fourth gear, 70 mile an hour, throwing it in sideways. James Dean to lead in Enver Haskasap.
Yes, Haskasap fires in on the door. Oh, big contact. Enver Haskasap.
Oh, gets in the wall.
Haskasap takes it to the wall. To make an attack. Oh, no.
We have any power in the pits with James Dean.
You're true to the top 8, but the weather conditions here have just taken a turn for the worse. A massive storm. Talk us through how it's going to be for the rest of the competition now.
Well, one thing's for sure, I don't think we have to worry about wet and dry conditions anymore.
And with that, everything would change. The best drivers in Europe would have to adapt to treacherous conditions in order to make the podium.
In the V30, they're off the line. It's Dean to chase down Adam Zalewski for a place in the top 4.
Oh, look at James Dean throwing it in on the door. The transition is sensational. Markovsky's on full throttle, full attack.
Dragos Hipke has looked unstoppable all weekend. Everybody in the paddock saying he was the guy to beat, and right now, Dave, he is the guy to beat.
Well, Pointelasko's lost a lot of ground here. Hipke comes in faster than anyone in the world. He's going to hit the wall.
Hipke is absolutely flying right now, David.
Hipke in on the door.
Hipke on the door, Dave. That is right. Look at this from Dragos Hipke. Pointelasko on a perfect line. But Dragos Hipke absolutely all over the side of the Finnish driver.
And look at Hipke as he starts to shoot it back in, and what a transition. But flames firing and fireworks firing across the line. And your winner of round 2 in Hungary. Give it up for Dragos Hipke! That is the end of an emotional night here in Hungary. A crazy day of weather, action, battles, and monumental upsets. The championship is completely reordered. Give it up for your finalists. Once again, Bartosz Stolarski, James Dean, Juha Pointelasko, and your winner, Dragos Hipke!
Riga, the Drift Masters European Championship touched down in the beautiful Latvian city for the most dangerous and highly anticipated event of the tour. This track takes no prisoners and only rewards the brave. Drivers knew there was no point in showing up if they weren't prepared to throw down. Before the on-track competition began, locals were treated to a sight that few could comprehend: the street parade.
We're in the middle of freaking Riga. Police shut the whole place down for like a bunch of 60, 70 crazy 1,000 horsepower drift cars. Come on now, how much better can it get? And the weather is good as well, so it's Riga, baby.
You have to stay focused, and commitment definitely will win the race. This track really requires high concentration and a lot of commitment, and then I would say balls.
Welcome to Latvia and welcome to Riga and welcome to the most hardcore drift event of the year. After an insane start to the season in Poznan, Poland, and then a very unpredictable event in Hungary, the Drift Masters European Championship is ready to once again stake its claim that has become the Champions League of European drifting.
Almost on cue, unpredictable weather conditions would make the circuit even more challenging and treacherous. The best in the business would have to prove their ability and adaptability once again. It was time to hit and hope at over 90 miles an hour.
And he is right there with Sebastian Fontin, not an inch between the cars. Oh, big impact.
Romanovski's sketchy transition.
Torrential weather out there.
Gregor Zipke as he fires that car.
But Shannon's right with him, he's like a dog with a bone.
But even torrential downpours couldn't stop the knife-edge action, as each driver threw caution to the wind.
Colfer gets deep. Oh, he's way over the line.
Definitely the speed is picking up here, Ian.
Romanovski now starts to get on it. Hipke absolutely flying. They fire it in door on door into the first turn, and Adam Zalewski starts to give Bartosz Stanowski something to think about.
Current Formula Drift champion James Dean would have to go through Krzysztof Romanowski in order to make the final. It was go time for Poland and Ireland.
Dives into the inner zone as Romanowski now looks to transition. James Dean. Oh, wow!
How did they not make contact?
James Dean to 5 all the limits. hunt down the 2017 champ. Zalewski on that perfect lead line, and look at Romanowski looking to hunt down the door. Can he put wow! Adam Zalewski absolutely putting caution to the wind.
Oh, and he hops over his car. Wow. Contact.
Krzysztof Romanowski would beat defending champion Adam Zalewski for a third step on the podium, leaving us with one final battle remaining. Gregor Szybki, the winner in Hungary, had championship point leader James Deane firmly in his sights. With so much anticipation resting on this event, the final would have to be something truly special. It certainly didn't disappoint.
He doesn't seem to have the pace for James Deane.
Look at him go! Out of nowhere!
He just comes out of nowhere.
Oh! Empty out of nowhere!
James Deane pushes big on 50.
After 3 grueling rounds of action, record attendances and unrivaled online viewership, the Drift Masters European Championship is certainly cementing its initial claims as the Champions League of European drifting. As we head to round 4, we ask one question to every drift fan worldwide. Can you really miss what happens next?
After watching Drift Masters for the last couple of years, it's obviously been like our mission to get here and actually compete.
Drift Masters European Championship this year is really high level, and first 3 rounds are over and there's been 3 different winners, so competition level is really high. Watching these drivers on track, risking everything, you know.
Drivers are pushing so hard, they don't really care about their cars, they just care about winning.
You got about 60 to 70 pro drivers, and yeah, it's even hard to qualify over here.
You may be confused. You may even be misinformed. This is not a regular drift championship. This is Drift Masters, where exceptional is normal.
Welcome to Torun in Poland, and welcome to round 4 of the Drift Masters European Championship. It's been an amazing year, but it's about to get even more amazing as we stand here in a custom 17,000-seater Speedway Stadium, which has been transformed, and I do mean transformed, into a fully custom-built drift circuit for the weekend. Nothing like this exists anywhere in the world. For 5 days, they've been laying tarmac and preparing a challenging course for the best drivers from around Europe.
James Deane was once again the man to beat as he entered the battles. His teal and blue S14 had become the biggest target on the grid.
Definitely have the horsepower advantage here, but Shanahan's not going to let him get away that quick. And look at
Shanahan, big impact with the wall.
Connor Shanahan, big into the wall. Shanahan sitting 3rd in the championship right now. This could be a big deciding factor on whether he's going to be in the fight.
Kuszkowski now starts on the door.
He's going to be the Irish champion going up against one of the prides of Poland. Shanahan to lead in. Romanowski. Shanahan tags the wall but stays in it.
I think he's a local hero, but he wants to take him down. The man. Karkoshik takes it to the wall. Karkoshik takes it to the wall.
So
yeah, look at this. Point to Lexco. He's got a point to prove. He's door on door. Look at this. From Point to Lexco pushing the Formula Drift champion around that final turn. He's done.
Poland now going door to door, wheel to wheel as the flames fire into the stands. We'll
in now. Korpolinski needs to repay the favour and get on the door. Oh! Wow!
The unique track layout and immovable outer barriers were claiming victims. Drivers knew that in order to claim the podium, they would have to risk it all. Even the championship leader found himself in the outer wall during practice, needing last-minute repairs to make the finals.
Wheel to wheel with Trigorczynski.
Almost contact as Dean now pushes the limits here and goes right back onto the rear quarter of the Drift Warriors E30. And that is a sensational clinic from James Dean. And look at that.
Big mistake for Zalewski's. Oh! Brokowski almost takes the back bumper. Oh! And Zalewski goes to the wall. Trella to lead in Joe Hutanchi as Hutanchi throws in on the door.
How did they not make contact, but he's still in the game here? That was a very brave move from Joe Hutanchi there. Brokowski already!
Whoa, Brokowski's wheel to wheel, almost contact, and Brokowski pushes James Dean almost into the wall. This is insane action. The accelerator looks like he's pulling away from that little oval GC. Can Brokowski overturn this? He had good proximity in the first half of the battle. Trella gets back on the door, but is it too much too late as they bring it home?
With 20 crashes throughout the competition, our final 4 drivers had survived the greatest onslaught in European drift history. It was clear that this night would never be forgotten. 65 drivers became 4, and they were about to tear the roof off the Moto Arena.
He was like fire it in, look at Brokowski, nice time, but look at Jakob. Jakob all over the side of Brokowski's car, makes a big dive into out zone 2, but look at Brokowski all over the side of Jakob. Jakob can't get away.
Paweł Brokowski would see off the challenge of Jakub Piszczonski to claim 3rd step on the podium. On a historic night, Poland's pride would fall on the shoulders of Paweł Trella as he would go face-to-face with James Dean in the final.
Trella now cannot let him get away, and he doesn't. Look at Trella, he's right with Dean here. See the transition back, and Trella is still there. Dean cannot shake the Polish driver. He's got to make one last dive into that last corner, and he does, right there with James Dean. Clinical finish from Trella. James Dean is right there, he's not giving him a millimeter. Dean now starts to hunt down the Polish driver. Last minute transition. Dean now back on the door, doing what he does best. The machine is locked on to that last out. Oh!
A huge mistake from Paweł Trella.
And Dean finishes the run.
As the dust settled on an unforgettable night, many global drift fans were left with one uncomfortable question. Is this Drift Masters European Championship just too unforgiving, too harsh and too unfair? We believe the answer is simple. In order to be the best, you must beat the best. And taking in what we had just witnessed, it's pretty obvious the best are here.
You should know that by being a racing driver, you are under risk all the time. And by being a racing driver means you are racing with other people. And if you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racing driver. Because we are competing to win. And the main motivation to all of us is to compete for a victory.
Senna is getting close to him, and Senna is going to challenge for the lead. Vai com tudo e passa forte. Ayrton Senna has got the lead.
But One Motorsport isn't celebrating heritage or history. It's busy creating it. It's been a long road from motorsport outcast to the next big thing. And professional drifting is now ready to state its claim on the Hockenheimring.
Welcome back to Germany and welcome to round 5 of the Drift Masters European Championship. After an incredible day yesterday of practice and qualifying, the drivers are heated up for the main event today. In case you missed it, this is what went down.
Qualifying was hot and heavy, with drivers attacking the first corner at over 90 miles an hour. Making the top 32 battles was going to be a tough task.
Off the front wheel as it touches it across the line. Korpolinski, very, very good job from Pavel Korpolinski. And look at the smoke all the way up to the wing mirror as he comes over the line. That is a good run.
Yeah, so we're just getting ready for our top 32 battle, where we're battling Gregor Shipke. He's currently second in points. I'm currently first in points.
I'll be in his door, in his bumper, and his wheels. I will be full order his car. Yeah?
Doesn't get much tougher than that. So it's a big one for us. It's a big one for him, and yeah, we'll be going into this battle and going all in.
Look at Hipke, he's going for it here, right on the back bumper, and Dean has thrown it into that first corner. As Dean now slams on the front brake as they come through. Hipke now starting to chase up. Hipke drops a wheel, stays in it on the throttle, has to get back on James Dean's arm, but pushes wide. Dean unfazed. Hipke throws it in. Dean lifts a wheel as he comes in on full throttle behind Hipke, and he's right there. Hipke's fast here. He's right there with Gregor Shipke as they transition back. This one is for all the marbles. This one is for the championship, and Dean welds that wheel to the door.
Defeating Gregor Shipke would land James Dean the title of 2018 Drift Masters European Champion. But the battle for supremacy was far from over, and Dean prepared for another run to the podium. The German audience held their breath as anticipation began to build for the top 8.
Well, they're off the line, Dave. Let's find out who will be taking it through to the final four. Look at Benedictus Gerber on the back bumper, but ultimately the Golfer makes the dive now onto the door as Gerber starts to force Nigel Golfer across the line. Very, very good lead. As Dean now almost makes contact of Overgaard as Overgaard fires it in. Dean, no such separation this time. Dean nice and close to the door as Overgaard starts to smoke out the champ. They both fire it in. And Overgaard on big ahead. Look at the way that Zalewski fires that car in absolute confidence, but Bokowski, chase champion. Oh, and contact as Bokowski hits the back of Zalewski's car, but manages to push himself a little bit further away from Pavel Bokowski.
Yeah, big mistake for Bokowski, went too aggressive there.
As these guys come off the line, it will be Korpolinski to lead in Hutanji, and Hutanji all over the back bumper. Hutanji on the door. Can Hutanji be the man to take down Korpolinski? Almost contact, unbelievable.
Here we go.
Benedictus Cherba would defeat local legend Joe Hutunji to claim third step on the podium, leaving just one battle remaining. 2017 champion Adam Zalewski would face off against newly crowned 2018 champion James Dean. They say history is written by the victors, and both competitors knew this battle was all about proving who was best.
Dean tries to make the move, and Zalewski's so fast through the midsection. Dean makes a last-ditch effort on big angle. Zalewski, Dean hops over the inside curve. Zalewski right out to those outer zones. Dean now shortcutting the track to try and stay in the fight.
James Dean was making mistakes in the chase position while Zalewski looked strong out front. This one would all come down to the second run.
Poland versus Ireland, and look at Zalewski all over James Dean as they come into that first corner. What a transition! The 18-year-old is coming for blood here. He doesn't care what Dean has won. He's taken first place today, and what a transition into that final corner. Zalewski in a last-minute transition again. Impressive stuff. Pushes the Irishman across the line.
The judges called for a one more time. Zalewski was ready, but his machine was not, and the youngster would retire heartbroken. Professional drifting took a step on hallowed ground this weekend. Heroes were born, warriors emerged, and a champion was crowned. But this is not a conclusion. This is just a chapter. And Mondello Park in Ireland will close the book on the most incredible season in European drifting. It's time to finish the story. Drifting is undoubtedly the most unique and visually dynamic motorsport on Earth. But in relation to European drifting, has Ireland set the benchmark? A deep-seated love affair with Japanese cars saw thousands of makes and models flood Irish shores and create a highly passionate subculture within the automotive community. Increased running costs and insurances resulted in many transformed into competitive drift cars. For an isolated country with a small population, one international circuit and minimal resources, the success of this unique motorsport within the Emerald Isle could be likened to a rose growing through concrete. This ability and talent was nurtured and realised on the tarmac of Ireland's famous drift stronghold. But this weekend, the best international drivers from across the world were ready to rewrite that claim in Mondello Park. The Drift Masters European Championship promised to be the greatest series Europe had ever created. That was a big claim, and the weight of expectation placed on each driver was far greater than before. The expectation on the finale was higher still, given how much had happened already.
Oh, wow, look at Conor Shanahan! But Gregor Zipke absolutely all over the side of the Finnish driver. Dean pushes Gregor Zipke! To that last round, oh! And Dean finishes the run.
The Irish had always dominated on home soil, but this was a different level of challenge.
Super excited, man. Ireland, place to be for drifting.
It's the biggest lineup of drivers Ireland has ever seen.
I'd say these guys are up there with the best, so I'm really excited to get out there and compete with them tomorrow.
Mondello, this weekend, coming for you.
He's out on circuit. Hipkey dropped the wheel.
Between Wang and Bagsy.
Forrest Wang gets on the door and Bagsy. They transition back. Bagsy nice on the wall.
The Irish weather greased the track for the top 32, meaning grip levels were inconsistent. But almost on cue, the sun shone through for the beginning of the top 16.
This is the biggest drift event in European drift history. Mondello Park makes some noise!
Valtrella gets himself back into the fight and he's initiated very late. He's got wheels up on the curve. James Dean tucks in behind McKeever. McKeever
Adam Zalewski, the 18-year-old Polish sensation, was one of 4 international drivers going head-to-head with 4 Irish in the top 8. After defeating Kevin Quinn, Zalewski was true to the final, and a record-breaking attendance in Mondello Park were loving every minute of it. 2 Irishmen would go head-to-head in the other semi-final, and the current European and Formula Drift champion James Dean would defeat underdog hero Paul McCarthy in order to make his 5th final of the year. Latvian Jānis Iglīte was back on form, but even he couldn't stop Zalewski's mission this weekend. Iglīte would have to settle for a 3rd place playoff with Paul McCarthy.
McCarthy finds his car is absolutely dull. Looks like he's wound the grip levels through the roof for this one as Iglīte again makes that huge dive into the outer zone. Iglīte, can he get another dive back on the door? He certainly can.
Look at the proximity!
Oh wow, McCarthy absolutely glued to the back end to get into this car. Paul McCarthy on the door of the European champion. As they transition back, McCarthy makes a last-ditch attempt to get back into the fight.
Only in Driftmasters could something like this happen. A local hero who built his humble car on a shoestring budget would go up against an ex-European champion. On paper, McCarthy had no chance, but drifting often produces moments that are truly unexplainable. And then there were 2. If Zalewski could beat James Dean, he would break a 15-year Irish home soil undefeated streak. Forget the battle, forget the championship. This one was for history.
Big in a chase, but look at Zalewski right with him as he fires it on the door. Oh, Zalewski understands and drops off track. James Dean stays in it. James Dean stays in it. Zalewski now needs to get himself back in the fight, but it all could be too much.
And Dean finishes the run. Ireland versus Poland. 1 run, and we are done for the season. Dean, Zalewski, Ireland, Poland, we are go!
Zalewski flicks the car in a lock, and James Dean is all over the side of Adam Zalewski, but it's wide. His wheels on track, and James Dean's on the door as he pushes Sestino tyres around the track. Zalewski fires into out of 6, and James Dean is right there. Mondello Park makes some noise!
We began this season by asking a very difficult question. Is this sport as good as we think it is? Will it become the mainstream success we all wanted it to be, or stay confined to a passionate following? The best in Europe put everything on the line across 5 nations and went through every emotion and challenge imaginable to prove how good they are. This isn't just a championship of drivers, it's a championship of warriors. And while the battles may have ended in Mondello, the war is just beginning.